Hello everybody and welcome. I am SocioPsycho, and today we'll be looking at a game called BraveLand. This was created by Tortuga Team, and it is supportable on Macs and Linux. This was originally an iPad and mobile game. Now it has been crossed over to PC. It is a turn-based hexagon battlefield style with 21 Steam achievements for those who are interested in that. Now, when we go into the options menu, the only thing there really is here is no graphics, because the graphics of the game are kind of cartoonish, but they don't look bad. There you have a music and sound slider, which are very receptive to what level you want, which is very nice to see. A lot of ports seem to glaze over this fact, and that is unfortunate. So, what exactly is this game, you may be thinking? Well, you start out way back over here. Your village gets attacked, and the mission in the story progresses you to continue to push forward and push the enemy forces back and find out exactly what's happening, through which you can therefore recruit more units, buy gear at stores such as this, and as you continue to push forward you get to unlock new powers and new units. So let's go to one of these shops real fast. The movement system in the game too isn't anything that's bad. The animational quality of the game is actually done quite well. There hasn't been any issues with that. Now, this is just one shop, and I have both of these items bought already. But as the game progresses onward, and you gain money from your battles, you can use that money into reinforcing your army with troops, or buying gear. So you have 4 basic slots in your gear. These are the items that I've bought throughout my adventures, and you can obviously only have one equipped at a time. And they give you perks. So endurance increases the damage resistance pretty much. Attack increases your damage output. Spirit increases your rage, which is an in-combat mechanic, which we'll go over. So the more spirit you have, the more rage you have, but I wouldn't worry about when leveling up going for spirit. And you have knowledge, which is magic resistance. When you look over into your squad, now these won't become all unlocked. As you go through the mission, you'll unlock them, and you can take these different units with you. You can just replace them quite easily if you want with something else. And the question mark next to all of them give the personal stats for damage to health, damage mitigation, versus physical, versus magic, movement paces, and inspiration. So different units have different abilities and skills, and it's about finding the right combination that meshes with your style of play to be able to defeat the enemies. Now, this is a smaller game, and you can't compare this $4 game to something, say, as King's Bounty, which is a hexagon turnstile combat based as well. That game offers a lot more in-depth and unit choices than this one does. But this game I found is actually enjoyable. I went into this thinking, okay, I need to do my review on this, I need to understand what's going on in this world, and just try to unlock as much as I can so I can show that to you. But what happened is, when I was playing, I actually found a sense of enjoyment in the game that I was not expecting, which is definitely nice. Now, when we go into combat here, I'll show you this. Every battle has a little bit of a story behind it, and while the story is not going to win any awards, it's good enough to progress and make the world understandable. You have an idea of what you're doing, you have an idea of where you're going, why things are happening. It's not just a go here, kill these enemies, hey, good job. You have a feeling of understanding about the world, and as weird as it may sound to say, I actually feel like I'm part of this world because of the story. Now, it could be a mixture of the dialogue and the combat that makes me feel as if I'm actually part of a world. I mean, obviously it's a single player game, so what I do will affect the world. But it's just refreshing to have a sense of accomplishment and a feeling of gratification, something that I was not expecting from this title. Now, as you can see, if you're used to this style of games, then this all looks very familiar to you. Every unit has its own turn, and it's a turn-based strategy. Every unit goes. So if we click on this question mark up top here, this will portray every unit, their health, and you can click on the person itself to get a better analyzation of their stats. This could come in handy if you're in a battle that's a bit difficult and you're like, oh, well, how do I do this? When you just go for the weakest enemy, and that's one way to find out. Now, another thing I'd like to point out is the music in this game is actually quite good. It's not too often that you get a low budget game like this where the music actually feels inspiring and fits, I want to say perfectly, with the theme of the game. And they managed to pull that off. So while you're going through, the music isn't a burden, it's actually a little bit uplifting. You actually feel this vibe of I'm a hero in part as well because of the music. And there's other aspects of this which go into it. I mean, it's a combination of all these little things that make the game good, as well as the fact that when you level up your character throughout the missions, you can visibly see your character growing stronger as time progresses by. It's very well balanced out, and I feel they deserve the recognition for that. Now, another reason why you grow and feel more powerful as you continue through the mission is there are landmarks throughout the field, and when you go to them, such as this one here, you gain a permanent bonus. All these little permanent bonuses mixed in with your gear and your level up, because when you level up you also gain a choice in between leveling up your personal stats, which is, like we said before, it's simply just magical resistance, endurance for mitigation, or spirit. You'll get a choice to pick. And it's little by little you begin to feel more and more capable. And another thing I would like to state is that the game offers a difficulty slider option. It has easy, medium, and hard. Now, I'm a veteran of these styles of games, and so I immediately just went right to hard. And me myself, I haven't had any issues with it. I feel like here's an arbitrary number that really doesn't mean too much, but my personal capability in doing this difficulty-wise is maybe 23%. It's not really that hard for me, and as somebody who may not have been used to the style of games, this is a good entry game. It's entertaining, satisfying, and it doesn't try to overwhelm you. You just have fun with it. For somebody who maybe is hoping for something a little bit more complicated, this may not be what you're looking for. It's a fun little casual game that you can beat in about 7 hours or less, depending on how much effort you put into it. The combat throughout the game has a good progression. At no part do you feel like, okay, the combat's a 1, 2, 3, 7, 12, 15. It doesn't jump like that. It balances out very nicely, and you never feel like you're overly outmatched. There are some battles which you might have to be careful and plan your attacks around, but other than that, the balance within the game itself is actually done quite well. One issue I found that during the combat, there is no way to speed up the animation to make it go a little bit faster, and the health bars, as well as whose turn it is, cannot be popped on during the gameplay itself. There's a way to see it after, or during your turn, but during combat, being a passive full-on thing is not something that you can have, which is a bit annoying for veterans like myself, but for new people to this genre, I don't think it'll bug you because you're not used to that mechanic. Now, here in the victory screen you can see your losses, which is a concept we need to go over, which is kind of important. The money and rewards that you have. So after each battle you gain rewards for money. Depending on how many people you lose, each soldier you lose at the end of a match will be able to be resurrected at the cost of some of the gold that you've accumulated. Now, I've never had an issue where the costs outweigh the rewards, and it's been, you could say that's partially part of why it's easy and why it could be balanced out well. But it works for the way that they've set the game up, because you're not running around getting an influx of money, and between everything that you can buy for gear and units and troops, it balances out. I never really felt like I had more money than I needed to do with, and that is a good thing. The enemy offers a huge variety. I believe there are 25 different types of enemies, and different enemies do different things. You have your mages, you have your heavy armor, you have your DPS, you have your archers, you have your golems, you have your wolves, you have your alpha wolves. There's a good variety of troops, so it doesn't get stale. It keeps mixing it up and intermixing it up, which makes you have to be aware of what exactly the opponent is going to throw at you, because the AI in this game is not stupid. The AI in this game is actually quite intelligent for the platform of the game. If you do not protect yourself or put your troops in an appropriate order, and if we look at the map here right now, if I do not go up and try to get rid of these soldiers, or at least put my men in their harm's way, those guys will go to my ranged units and just decimate them. And that's not good. We don't want that. So another mechanic for the in-game combat itself is also, like we were talking about before, the spirit. You gain an amulet of fury, and as you continue throughout the map, you come across shrines which upon you can unlock different abilities. And you have a fire arrow, inflicts magical damage to a target. This is pretty much haste, increases movement speed. Armor, physical and magical damage taken by 20% for 2 turns is reduced. Battle cry, encourage all units to increase their initiative for 1 round. And rain of fire, bring down meteors behind 3 random squads, dealing magic damage to each of the targets. So this mechanic mixed in with the rest actually makes the game feel balanced, decent, and fun. When you fail a mission, you have the option to run away here, and if you do that, fail or run away, the enemy will take some of the gold from you, but your troops and units will be put back to what you went in with. While this is not an aspect that many hardcore fans would perceive good, and I would agree with, because there's really no consequence for failing, it is a little bit disappointing. Of course, on the other side, the game is built around the fact there really isn't much room to have a fail mechanic, due to the fact that there's a limited amount of coins, and it's just enough to make you feel like you're not drowning in coins. It's enough to balance out the entire game. One other quick thing I forgot to mention before, because this is a port, and one thing people may be worried about is, are there any microtransactions? And the answer to that is no, and it offers you at least a day's worth of fun. If a battle for some reason is too difficult for you at one time, you can always go into your difficulty option and switch it to an easier mode. As if I stated before, I am pleasantly surprised with this game, and for $4 on Steam, I have to recommend this. It may be a little game, but it's actually worth it. So this has been my review of the game, and I feel it's worthy of your time. Thank you everybody for watching. I have been SocioPsycho, and I'll see you next time.